This is World of Business, where we record your weekly cutting-edge business show where we delve into the trending business issues and latest developments on the stock exchange. We also herald the unsung but thriving business entrepreneurs on this episode. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of World of Business. My name is Malvin Matala. It is that time of the year when the country's finance ministry has the difficult task of coming up with measures that are meant to drive the economic growth as well as allocate resources for various government programs. Now, as the nation of Zimbabwe awaits the rolling out of the 2024 national budget before the end of this month, today we will unpack some of the expectations and performance of key priority areas in 2023. But first, we take a look at the exchange rates as of today.
Exchange rates as of Wednesday were: the Zimbabwe dollar to the United States dollar interbank rate was at $5,738.72. The Zimbabwe dollar to the Great Britain pound interbank rate was at $7,046.06. The Zimbabwe dollar to the euro interbank rate was at $6,133.03. The Zimbabwe dollar to the South African rand interbank rate was at 0.0032 cents. The Zimbabwe dollar to the Botswana pula interbank rate was at $425.27.
Now, we also give you the commodity prices on the global market.
Commodity prices as of Wednesday afternoon were: gold per ounce traded at $1,972.50 after it went down by 0.05 percentage points. Silver per ounce traded at $22.60 after it went up by 0.03 percentage points. Copper per pound traded at $368.35 after it went up by 0.12 percentage points. Platinum per ounce traded at $884.49 after it went down by 1.15 percentage points.
Now, that's all we had for you for the first segment of World of Business. Do join us in the second segment as we will be taking a preview of the 2024 budget rollout that is expected to be presented before end of this month. I will be joined in studio by Dr. Tinashe Eric Muzamindo and Mr. Takemore Mazuruse, an economist. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the World of Business. Now, as we said earlier, the country's finance ministry has the unenviable task of coming up with the measures that are meant to drive economic growth, as well as allocate resources for various government programs. Now, as the nation of Zimbabwe awaits the rolling out of the 2024 national budget before end of this month, today we will unpack some of the expectations and performance of the key priority areas in 2023. Now, as always, every week we are joined in studio by guests who will help us unpack some of these issues. And today we have Dr. Tinashe Eric Muzamindo, the Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Institute of Strategic Thinking, and Mr. Takemore Mazuruse, an economist who will help us shed more light on this topic at hand. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, the 2024 budget is very vital because it comes as the Second Republic's first 5-year national development plan. The National Development Strategy 1, the NDS1, which is spanning from 2021 to 2025, which has already passed the halfway stage. What has been the performance of the key delivery sectors? Now, Doctor, this is very vital to the fulfillment of the Vision 2030. We can start with you. How is this, has there been change so far?
Yes, there's been a lot of improvement, especially on the infrastructure development and the mining sector, the growth. But as you can see, that the issue of NDS 1 and 2 is a journey towards Vision 2030. So the idea, the most important aspect of the budget is to calibrate or to come up with a structure towards the Vision 2030. And it is very important and it's vital because it helps the government to do what is called strategic planning, coordination, and strategic implementation. And we are also looking at the leveraging strategy to propel Zimbabwe to a higher business of economic interests. So it's very important looking at the economic growth. And we are also looking at the issue and the aspect of nation building. The budget is very important because one of the major core drivers of NDS 1 towards the Vision 2030 is nation building and also strategic collaboration of key stakeholders and partners. For example, state entities, we are talking of private sector, we are talking of parastatals, we are talking of institutions, we are talking of key areas, academics, researchers, and so forth. So it's very important to, when we are dealing with the issue of NDS 1 and 2, where we are talking about the issue of, or the aspect of strategy collaboration. So it's a mix, and it's a very, very vital, because the whole budget pronouncement, it is going to be centered or focused more on Vision 2030.
On the fulfillment of Vision 2030.
2030, yes.
Okay, okay, nice. So now coming to you, Mr. Takemore Mazuruse, we have said that the National Development Strategy, which we say is spanning from 2021 to 2025. Now, as Dr. Muzamindo says, that all the budgets are spanning towards the fulfillment of Vision 2030. How has been the budget, the 2023 budget? Has the sectors which were afforded the funds, used the funds, those funds to their great expectations?
All right, thank you, Marvin. Yeah, so I'll start off by saying, yes, it is the journey that will culminate in us being an upper middle class economy by 2030. When you look at 2023, the major sectors that have performed quite well, towards which we have advanced financing and investment, we remain in agrarian economy in the main. So if you want to talk about what underpins our economy, it is the real sectors or the productive sectors, and that would be agriculture, that would be mining, that would be manufacturing. They are intertwined. So we have seen a lot of inputs, the schemes, the Fumvudza, it has resulted in a lot of mileage. As an economy, we worry naturally about food security. So we have realized that around grain, maize, wheat, in 2023 we have had good produce to the extent of, let's just say, self-sufficiency. And going into the next year, unfortunately, there are always risks and downside risks. And there is the El Nino effect, which we need to take into consideration. But when you look at tobacco, also one of the major export earners, it has done quite well. Mining, it has also done well. We have seen gold output going up, especially. And then when you look at manufacturing, we're not yet there, but we will get there. Infrastructure, we have seen a lot of effort, but naturally, as we are not yet there, there are opportunities for improvement. I think we could do more around our road infrastructure. We have done what we have done, the Masvingo Bite Bridge Harare, but there is still work to be done.
Okay, now looking at the main objectives in forming the 2024 budget, the one which you are expecting to be unveiled later this month, what are the major things which we should be looking at?
Thank you. So I will start off with agriculture. So with the downside risk of El Nino, which I just spoke about, what we need to do is to improve or build on what we have done. I think in NDS1 we have attempted to drought-proof agriculture, to climate-proof it, because we are prone to weather changes and all that, and even in the globe we have climate change. So what we then need to do is agriculture infrastructure, more of that. We've done what we've done, but to irrigate, we have so many water bodies. For us to then have challenges when there is suboptimal rainfall means we need to do more. But we are, and then the other thing in the budget, naturally social protection, social safety nets, because you realize that we have grain reserves, but they can only take us so far. Perhaps in first quarter, perhaps second quarter, but beyond that, if we have suboptimal rainfall or harvest, then we need quite a bit of input in there. Then we have seen, we've been ravaged by COVID as an economy. We did quite well. It didn't get to the point where it got to other countries, but we managed to survive. But still, we need to do quite a bit more in health infrastructure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, coming to you, Dr. Muzamindo, do these factors that Mr. Mhlanga is talking about culminate to the fulfillment of Vision 2030?
Yes, they are more of importance, especially the issue of the key sectors feeding into the national economy or the national planning grid. So what the other most important aspect, especially about the budget, when driving the budget in NDS1 towards the Vision 2030, I think that is to structure the Vision 2030 itself, so that it can feed into the key entities of the economy and the critical sectors of the economy, such as agri and mining, tourism. So it's very important how we structure. We need to calibrate the idea and structure it, come up to refine the Vision 2030 framework so that it feeds directly into the critical sectors of the economy, especially on the planning aspect and the coordination and the implementation.
Now, this budget, the economy, the Zimbabwean economy, is not secluded from the rest of the global economics happening at the moment, right? So in a presentation at a pre-budget parliamentary seminar last week, Governor Dr. John Mangudya said that the 2024 national budget should complement the current fiscal and monetary stance in addressing emerging global and domestic risks from growth slowdown, geopolitical factors, and climatic shocks. Mr. Mhlanga, what are some of these global and domestic risks that we have been facing?
Thank you. I'll start off with the easy one. Pick up from where I left. We have seen climate change, and it has become a topical issue, global warming and all that. It affects not only us, which is why you see we have increasing incidence of droughts and suboptimal rainfall. We have also seen geopolitical tensions, and the latest being the Israel, Hamas, in that region. There's always war now and then, but this time around, so it feeds into the global economy, because Israel also is one of the key economies, the producers in the economy.
One of the key priorities under the National Development Strategy 1, looking at the fulfillments of the various fiscal and monetary policies that have been put in place by central bank in the 2023. How have these gone in terms of stabilizing the economy, and how much should we expect in 2024?
Thanks, Marvin. Yeah, so we have seen fiscal discipline creeping, coming, which is credit to the central government. Previously, we've had situations whereby we're not managing our fiscus well. So fiscal discipline is one of the key issues, tenets of good economic performance. Yeah, but just to say, I don't exactly envy the finance minister. He's settled with national debt, which is in the 18 billions, about close to 99% of the GDP. So it means he's constrained. When you look also at government, because of issues around this data and all that, and our failure to attract some external...
It's a lot of issues.
Yes. So we don't have balance of payment support, and our tax revenue is our revenue is mostly tax. Yeah.
Amazing. Dr. Mzamindo, Mr. Mhlanga, thank you for joining us on World of Business. Now that brings us to an end of the second segment. Thank you, gentlemen, for shedding more light on this issue. Now, join us in the third segment where we give you the Entrepreneur of the Week. For now, we take a short break. Welcome back. This is the third and final segment of World in Business, where we give you the spotlight of our Entrepreneur of the Week. The World of Business team spoke to Mr. Takemore Mazuruse, a multi-award-winning brand strategist, new generation entrepreneur, and a communications expert who has done a lot in terms of helping companies and individuals to build Brand Zimbabwe. Let us hear from Sela Marere as she speaks to Mr. Takemore Mazuruse.
Welcome to yet another segment of our Entrepreneur of the Week, and on this week's edition we are joined by Mr. Takemore Mazuruse, a multi-award winning brand strategist, a communications expert, a new generation entrepreneur, and a business development consultant. He also currently sits on the Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce Executive Council for the Harare chapter. We're going to learn more about his initiatives in this conversation. Mr. Mazuruse, we thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to have an insightful conversation with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
As we begin the conversation, tell us about Takemore Mazuruse in a few lines.
Takemore Mazuruse is a brand strategist, communications expert, and a business development consultant. So we basically work with brands across sectors.
Can you walk us through your line of business, your line of work?
So we understand there's so much happening in the entrepreneurship space. Everyone elsewhere is trying something, but we felt it's important that we focus on building systems and structures that allows businesses to grow into hybrid brands that contribute to the national GDP. So this is why we came up with Esteem Communications. We work with development organizations, we work with corporate companies, we work with startups, we also work with talent in terms of ensuring that they professionalize in terms of whatever they're doing.
And I must say that it would be a miscarriage of justice if we fail to recognize the work that you've been doing in terms of giving brands an identity. But I'll start off by asking, why is it important for brands to actually have a face and for them to have an identity out there, looking at Brand Zimbabwe as a destination?
Thank you so much. Zimbabwe actually belongs to a global village, and we're obviously competing for space in terms of business, in terms of value creation, even in terms of tourism. So every individual Zimbabwean has got a role to play in terms of contributing to Brand Zimbabwe. So our mandate is promoting excellence and productivity. We want everyone across sectors to be playing an important role in advancing the national interests. Whatever you do, you must excel. So we understand the musicians that are out there, they are actually trying out their craft. You need to professionalize, be a brand so that you compete at national, regional, and even global level. We deal with we are home to all. We call ourselves the Dream Factory. Whatever idea that you have, you are guaranteed value in terms of growth, you are guaranteed value in terms of positioning. So we work with creatives, talent, musicians, poets, content creators. We help them in terms of professionalizing, putting systems and structures in place so that they grow their work. We also work with business people. We have startups, people that are getting started, they have not registered, they have no logo, they have no online presence, we also educate them on the importance of building a brand.
So you have said that it's important for any organization to have a face for whatever they are selling to be sellable out there. And from experience with these brands that you've been working with in terms of giving them an identity, what would you say are some of the key challenges that most of these businesses are facing these days, and even individuals, when it comes to brand strategizing?
The majority of them haven't professionalized. You know, they are so much worried about hustling. You know, hustling is about here and now. What is selling, how much can I get out of it? So someone is selling soap today, tomorrow they are into fashion, the next day they are into peanut butter. So as a company that values professionalism, we always emphasize on the importance of putting systems in place, register your company, so that at least you are recognized in terms of the local industry. So the majority of them think marketing is it's a cost center. It's not necessary. Why should I market when people are buying? But in the long run, it affects your sustainability because you have not invested in becoming brands. If I'm hungry today, I seldom think of random people that are cooking elsewhere. I think of the celebrated brands, you know, the hybrid brands that are leading in the market because they've invested in advertising themselves, they've invested in marketing themselves. So the majority of our people think marketing, advertising, and PR is a luxury. But companies are big because they advertise. They don't advertise because they are big. So it's very important that, you know, whoever is pursuing a certain discipline invest in becoming seen, being heard, and being remembered.
So in terms of building Brand Zimbabwe, why is it important for us to have more of these campaigns that are actually teaching people the importance of building their brand? How is our brand seen out there in terms of its look and identity?
The world has become a global village, and obviously Zimbabwe is competing with other countries out there. And building Brand Zimbabwe starts with you and me at an individual level. So whatever we do, we must become the best.
Mr. Mazuruse, I must say that you're doing a great job in terms of uplifting women. We see you taking part in so many of these women workshops that are aimed at women upliftment. Can you tell us more about your role with regards to uplifting women?
Yeah, thank you. So I believe gender equality is good for national development. And being a person who also worked in the development sector for a number of years, I feel we have a role to play in advancing the interests of women. Why? Because our society is generally patriarchal. For a long time, women had been left behind in terms of opportunities. So I work with various, women organizations, business membership organizations led by women, with a view to also promote excellence and productivity in their pursuits. We also link them with opportunities. We train them on the importance of putting systems and structures in the work they do. We also emphasize the importance even of working with men as they push their interests. Some women organizations think the men are the enemy, but we believe men can be important partners in advancing the interests of women as long as they are educated on the value that comes from empowering a woman. So I'm involved in these women-led organizations through trainings, through profiling their work. I also happen to have a media inclination through some stories that I write. I have columns in local leading media houses. So I also profile the work of women so that we also celebrate that the work that they're doing. The majority of women out there think it's impossible because for a long time they've seen men at the forefront. But by also profiling the women doers, we also open the eyes of those that are getting started.
We have also discussed women upliftment is one of the areas that you're touching on. It's very evident through your work. You participate in a lot of these women-based conferences, workshops that are aimed at uplifting all women in Zimbabwe. How far are we as a society in terms of reversing these gender stereotypes? I mean, we have got these conflicts that who is better than the other, men or women. How far are we as a nation in terms of reversing these stereotypes?
I think there's a deliberate, investment in advancing the interests of women at country level. I think we have seen the setup of the Gender Commission, which is pushing policy with regards to empowerment of women. We even have a relevant ministry, Minister of Women Affairs, Community, Small to Medium Enterprise Development, which is actually designed to empower women. So in terms of policy, I think there's a positive shift, but maybe we need to do more in terms of dealing with the main proponents of what do you call it? With the main culprits in terms of pulling down women. We have religion, for example. We have society in terms of our cultural norms. We've always seen women as a lesser gender. So we need to educate our society to also value women. Our religion should be seen to advance the promotion, the empowerment, and the capacity development of women. So there is a positive shift. We've also seen development organizations also pushing the same narrative. But I believe more needs to be done. What is critical is a collective effort across sectors in terms of empowering women.
So someone out there who is listening to what you just said may argue that maybe I will graduate and I don't get a job afterwards. There are very few opportunities that are aimed at the youth, and they don't know how to exploit these opportunities that are available for them. The opportunity is definitely not going to present itself on their door. What are they supposed to do so that they can also be seen and be recognized? Because most of these people actually carry so much strength inside them. They've got so many capabilities. What should they do?
I believe it's very important that our young people start where they are. Sometimes we wait for the right time to start, but if you start now, so many opportunities will find you along the way. The challenge that we have as young people is that we worry so much about what they can do for us, but I believe we are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the solution providers. We are the one that should drive this country and economy forward. So let's find ways of coming together collectively, share ideas and experiences in a way that helps us advance. Let's not discuss the challenges, let's discuss opportunities. If you are so invested in closed doors, you will miss opportunities. So there's so much opportunity that are there in Zimbabwe, even as indigenous businesses. We have seen ordinary Zimbabweans that have started from the bottom, rising to become celebrated businesses in Zimbabwe and beyond. So let's come together, share ideas, let's rally each other for the good of ourselves, or of our individual pursuits, and even for country. So my words of encouragement is that don't worry so much about the environment. Start where you are. Opportunities will find you along the way. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mazuruse, for the words of wisdom that you have imparted us. I mean, we look up to you for inspiration as the youths. We're constantly admiring what you're doing, and we look forward to more of your work in the future. Thank you so much for this opportunity. From the conversation that we're having today with Mr. Takemore Mazuruse, we have noted that it is very critical for organizations and brands to prioritize giving their work an image and a face as we work towards building Brand Zimbabwe. That's this week's segment of our Entrepreneur of the Week. Be sure to join us again next week. It's now back to the studio.
Well, that was the third and final segment of the world of business that brought into the spotlight that building identity and image for our country is key to putting us in the spotlight as a nation. That brings us to the end of this week's edition of World of Business. Join us again next week. Same time, same place. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.